It's the Mike Missanelli Podcast on the BetRivers Network.
Look at some tidbits over the last weekend, some things that stood out. You know, the Buffalo Bills, I feel sorry for them, and I'm not sure why. Probably because of the emotional baggage that they had to go through for the last couple of weeks, and they were probably wrung out a little bit, and that other team was ready for them, and Buffalo was not. They just weren't ready for that kind of intensity that the Bengals brought in that game, and they limped out, frankly. And again, we talk about not winning a lot here. The Buffalo Bills are kind of a snake-bitten franchise at that point, not being able to get over the hump, and I don't know how they get over the hump. I mean, do they need a coaching change? I mean, McDermott's been there for a really long time now, and sometimes you need to give a jolt to get you over the top. I don't know if that's the way they feel, but I did kind of feel bad for him, and I felt bad for Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen as a quarterback, and at one point he was probably the best quarterback in the league, and then he kind of fell off with the inconsistency and the interceptions this year. He's going to have to button that down. But I felt bad because Stephon Diggs started yelling at him on the sideline. My man is feeling really bad. He's sitting down. And to his credit, he didn't get up and demolish Diggs, because I would have. I'm trying my best. I'm playing in the snow. It's not quite working. We get through this emotional. And this diva wide receiver is going to give me a bunch of shit here. Come on, man. And Diggs, by all accounts, is a pretty good teammate, but I thought that was a little out of line for him to go by, and it went viral, and it makes the guy look foolish. And at Josh Allen's credit, he ignored it. He looked down, he didn't even look up. All right, so let's look now at Joe Burrow, and I'm doing this for my producer Darren's benefit, who's he's got Burrow's his BFF. And so Darren, at this point, is ready to proclaim Joe Burrow as the best quarterback in the NFL at this point. You're sticking with that?
I am. And I think he's elevated his game to the point where it's clear. I think the other part about him, and there's a conversation to have. Mahomes is always in the conversation. Josh Allen's in the conversation. The other thing with Burrow that always impressed me is his style of play. To me, the position will always be played within the pocket. You can have your running quarterbacks go bananas, this or that. But his game and the way he plays it projects to longevity. There's always freak injuries. He's already had an ACL, but his type of quarterback play projects longevity. He's going to be in the league a long time. The guy makes every throw in the book. He's really smart, can use his legs to a bit. But I mean, he makes every throw in the book. He is, as my dad used to say, he has ice water in his veins, as cool as it gets. Big win, big loss. He's the same. Great leader. He's like a Jalen Hurts in his leadership ability. In fact, Ross said Cincinnati, Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. That's been my pick for the last month. What a quarterback matchup it's going to be if it comes through, of Hurts and Burrow. Just two great leaders.
All right. I don't know if I'm ready to go number one on Burrow, but the playoffs have a special influence on who you're going to elevate. Rank your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, because I'm going to go Mahomes, Burrow. And then you can fill in the blanks from there. Who you got?
All right. Well, Burrow's 1. Oh, geez. I wasn't ready for this. Burrow 1. I think I would still give the edge to Mahomes at 2, but Allen's right there at 3 for me. Geez. I would, at this point right now, the way they're playing, I think I got to put Hurts in there. By the way, you touched on, you're hitting on one of my 3 questions for you today here, but
okay.
Hurts go 4. 5, I'm trying to think of somebody I really like. West, south. I'm running through it here. North, east, AFC. Who would be a 5th? Oh man, on potential. AFC West. Who is there in the AFC West? I mean, I will say this. I'm not going to give you an absolute 5th, but I'm going to give you a guy that's in the top 10 who's really getting dragged through the mud right now. Derek Carr is a really good quarterback. He's a smart quarterback. He's had 1,005 different offensive coordinators and a handful of different head coaches over the last. But he's really talented, and he's a great leader. I don't think he gets enough respect. But I put Carr up there, certainly. I don't know if I put him number 5, but I can definitely give you my top 4. We'll go Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Hurts.
Justin Herbert?
I like Herbert a lot. You know what?
Trevor
There you go.
Lawrence?
I'll go Herbert 5. Definitely Justin Herbert. Number 5.
Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence is the guy I was thinking of based on potential. I think he has the potential to be there. He's not there yet. Still makes way too many bad decisions.
I'm gonna give you a sleeper. Keep your eye on him.
Herbert, I'm going number 5 right now, but go ahead.
I frankly discovered this guy, and I'll go to my grave saying I discovered him. Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
I went to a Pitt-Penn State game several years ago.
Right.
Pitt almost beat him. They should have beat him. Pat Narduzzi made a terrible coaching mistake in the game. And I looked at both quarterbacks, and I go, Pitt's got a pro. Penn State does not.
When was the last time Penn State did?
And at the time, I said, what's the difference between Kenny Pickett and Joe Burrow as far as the way they approach the game? Watch out. Watch out for the fella.
I liked what I saw out of Pickett at the end of the year. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He makes good throws at big moments. And a good sleeper pick. It's not bad, but I'm definitely going. I forgot about Herbert. Definitely Herbert, number 5.
All right. Another thing that stuck out to me that's been reported on was a brawl. Cowboy fans are fighting each other. They had a watch party at the stadium, and they had a brawl. The Dallas Cowboy fans are beating each other up out of frustration.
I saw that.
Yeah. It gives me not a lot. Listen, I'm not one of those guys that hates the Cowboys. I think when you hate the Cowboys, you give them too much respect. You give them too much attention. And to me, they don't deserve that kind of attention. So I kind of stay away from the Cowboy hate. But I got to admit, when the camera shoots up to Jerry Jones and that whole crew he's got out there, it really delights me. Because that guy has been trying for years to win, and they don't win. Okay.
Did you happen to see his post-game interview?
No, he
threw it all on Dak, all on the quarterback.
Yeah,
all on the quarterback.
Whatever. Yeah. They're just dysfunctional, and when you're dysfunctional, you're not going to be able to win. And I take great delight in the fact that Cowboy fans are trying to beat each other up in frustration over that whole game. But I love to see Jerry when they shoot up there, and he's got angst. He's got.
They don't show them far enough when they're losing as they do when they're winning. I mean, come on, we want to see the angst too.
Yeah, they don't. So bye. Now, here's one thing I that's connected to it, because I don't like to give this guy any attention. I had a storied confrontation with him live on the radio. I don't understand the success of certain people in the media business, and I have never understood the success of Skip Bayless. But I started to think, because he tweets out this Cowboy bravado and why we're coming to get you, Philly. I mean, they didn't even win the game to get to Philly. How do you feel about media people who become fanboys?
First of all, I'm glad you asked me this question, because I've been thinking a lot about this morning, particularly Bayless, because he did some stupid bullshit about him throwing his Dak jersey in the trash, which is all an act. I wonder about people. Now, you know me well. You've known me for a long time. I'm certainly not someone that cares if people like me or not. But I do wonder about a person who's okay with getting success out of purposely. I mean, this is an act. This is he is like, why would you want to be disliked like that? Like, he purposely does this to make himself unlikable, because that's the only way he can be successful. And that, to me, is a flaw. It's a personality flaw. But I don't like fanboys in the media at all. First of all, if you're a fanboy, you're an entertainer. You're not a journalist. One of the biggest problems I see right now is the blurring of that line. The journalist fanboys.
Yeah, well, that works, though. The blurring of that line works with a certain semblance of the fan base, because the fan base wants to think that the media guy is on their side. So, the thing about I get it. The Bayless has found a formula. Rush Limbaugh found the same formula. So, that's just some people can do it, some people can't. I'd never be able to do it that way. I would have to be true to myself, and I couldn't be a phony. But I'm talking about, he covered the Dallas Cowboys as a reporter for a lot of years. And and this is my curse, and a lot of my strength comes from it. I started out as a reporter, and I had to detach myself from the fan aspect of it to the point where I could present something objectively that I thought worked for me. He did the same thing, but now he's like a Dallas Cowboy fan, which I don't know what he gets out of that, but I guess he gets something out of it. The other one is Greenberg, who also was a reporter, worked as a reporter, and and I like Mike Greenberg. It's not that I dislike him. I just don't understand why he thinks there's value in him parading his Jets fandom over national audience. I just don't get it. Some people get it. Some people like it. I guess Jets fans like the fact that he advocates for the Jets, and
Right.
Dallas Cowboy fans like that Bayless advocate. And I advocate for the Eagles in my own particular way, but I try to stay objective about it.
Right. Well, like national networks like ESPN will, there are certain fan bases they can get a jolt out of by either ignoring them or ripping them. Or he knows, he's clued in that most of the country is either a Dallas fan or they hate Dallas. So he goes, well, all right, well, I'm going to be this Dallas guy, have everybody, increase the amount of people to hate me more, and that's like his business model. I'm going to be the dislikable analyst because I'm going to say things that are going to piss people off, and I'm going to root for the team that pisses most of the country off, because their fans do. And I think it's calculated. I really do. I think it's completely calculated, everything he does, because, and again, I'm like you. I would rather be true. Like, you're very successful in your career. You probably could have gone that route to be someone who's hated, or
I can't see. I don't like the man personally. I just don't like anything he's about. But if if money is the most important thing in your life, he's found a formula that makes him a lot of money. I mean, a guy like that making $8 million a year is just like, it makes me barf.
Yeah.
But the fact is, he found a formula. He goes, you can think what you want about me. I'm making $8 million. All right, I got it. God bless you. I salute.
That's what I mean. Like, what kind of a look, I'm all for being success. I'm all for getting the biggest paycheck you can get. But man, I don't know if I could. Everywhere he goes, there's got to be somebody calling him a dickhead, right? Like everywhere he goes, where he eats, everywhere he goes to have a drink, anytime he goes on vacation, there's somebody there calling him an asshole. And then, I'm perfectly fine with the amount of money I make. I'm sure you are with the amount of money you make, not to have that lifestyle.
No, I'd like to make more money. Listen, I was an idiot. I'd like to make more money.
Yeah, but you're not going to sell your soul to do it. Which he clearly has calculated.
Maybe somebody offered me $8 million, I would have sold my soul. What do I know? All right. So let's get down to the nitty gritty of 3 questions for Mikey Miss. And we do this on every podcast. Darren comes up with 3 questions. I haven't heard the questions. Sometimes you catch me off guard with them. Let's see what we can do this time.
Well, let's start with the obvious one. So 3 questions today, Mike. A couple of them are football related. I want you to rank the 4 remaining quarterbacks. Forget about Mahomes' injury. Take that out of the equation. Just rank me. Let's say they're all 4 healthy. Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts.
It's a very easy question.
Mahomes and Burrow. Go ahead.
Yeah, I go Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, and obviously Purdy. I mean, it's pretty easy to rank Purdy 4th, isn't it?
It is. But, I kind of wanted to see where you were going to go with your top 2 there.
Yeah, Mahomes right now still, to me, an edge over Joe Burrow, and then a significant edge over Hurts at this point, even though Hurts has had a great season, and then Purdy, and then we'll see how the kid does. I mean, this is really going to be a fun game to watch, interesting game, and a lot of Eagle fans, I think, are going to be on the edge for an entire game. This 49er team is really good, and they're going to prevent the Eagles from scoring like they score in the past. So we'll see what happens. All right, 3 questions. Question number 2, what do you got?
All right, so question number 2. There are 4 rock-solid defensive players right now. Just in the last month, I want you to rank these 4. Just the last month. Nick Bosa of the Niners, Micah Parsons of Dallas, Hassan Reddick, and actually just rank those 3. I just want you to rank those 3. Hassan Reddick, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons. Very similar players. All 3 defensive player of the year candidates. But just rank them in the last month. What do you see?
Parsons, Bosa, Reddick.
Okay. Fair. Why now? So
and maybe Reddick, like if you're ranking them in the last month, Reddick gets the nod. I'm talking like overall what all of those guys can do.
I'm just talking last month because Parsons is
all right. Last month, probably Reddick first. Bosa, Parsons.
See, I agree with you there, and I think that's a big big thing to keep your eye on Sundays. The two best defensive players in the league are going to be facing off as well on Sunday. A lot of really great matchups we're going to get into later in the week. Final question. I live my life like you by quoting movies. What are the two most quotable movies? Like how many quotes per capita per line? Give me the two.
I'm sorry, what was that question again?
You and I spend a lot of time quoting movies.
Yeah.
What two movies are the most quotable, like per movie? Like you've got the most lines that come out of each movie.
Pulp Fiction, Midnight Run.
Midnight Run, I agree with you on the one. All right, very good. That's 3 questions.
All right. One parting shot here as we leave you for this particular podcast. And we're going to be back at you a couple times this week as we preview that NFC title game. Just like it's similar to what we did when the Phillies were making this run to the World Series. We wanted to touch base with you almost every day here. So my parting shot is this commercial that's getting a lot of hate right now because it's on a lot. Now, my buddy Andrew Brain, who doesn't say anything about anything, even criticized it. And he doesn't criticize anybody, but he's criticizing this commercial because it's just on all the time. And it's the Verizon commercial with Cecily Strong and Paul Giamatti where he's playing Einstein. And in this commercial, he says, "Brilliant!" Now, what commercial did that remind you of? Because it's kind of a ripoff of an older popular commercial.
What? Bring it?
What was it? Brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's the Guinness commercials. Brilliant.
That is correct. Yes. The Guinness commercial. Yeah. They just copied the Guinness commercial. Yeah, we go, brilliant. It was a classic commercial probably about 25 years ago at this point, and they're thinking that people would forget. Giamatti's ripping off the Guinness commercial by being Einstein, going brilliant.
The writers are, yes. But yeah, those are great commercials, by the way, those Guinness commercials. Brilliant.
Yeah, the Guinness commercial was a great commercial. All right, folks. Thank you for listening. Podcast episode number 44. Thanks to the great Ross Tucker for joining us. Hope you got some insights with that. This is the week of preparation. Another NFC title game at home. This one is, and the Eagles 1 win away from a Super Bowl. It's hard to believe. One team goes to the World Series. The other team will go to the Super Bowl. What, are you kidding me? This is like sports heaven, Scotty Rowland. This is sports heaven, you bastard. And I hope you don't get into the Hall of Fame.
Listen to the entire Mike Missanelli podcast on Apple Podcasts or from your favorite podcast provider. Thanks for listening.